Greetings, Benjamin J from BENZTRAINZ with another in the series. Well, getting ready to disassemble that pre-war motor with the worn out bearing on the armature. Anyway, I've bypassed the E-node just so I could get it running, but I'm going to go ahead and use this one for parts. So I figured I would do a video on the complete disassembly of this motor. It's really straightforward if you have the tools to do it with, of course. You need a pair of pliers, a screwdriver, and of course our old friend, the wheel puller. Now there's lots of wheel pullers, but this is the cheapest one. It's actually a plumbing tool. You can buy this at any hardware store for about 10 bucks, and you have to modify it, of course. But it works. It's big and clunky, but it's really effective, and it's cheap. So the very first thing we're going to do is pull off the front crossbar. So just take your pliers, straighten out the tabs on the front, as you see, and lift the crossbar off the motor. That gives you two flopping push rods. So we're going to pull these wheels off. Now, if you read the literature, it will always tell you to take the wheels off from the non-geared side. Unfortunately, if you do that, the axle will not go through the bearing. If you take the wheels off from the geared side, that axle will just drop through the bearing. So we're going to pull the front wheel off first. So we've got our wheel puller. Slide one side under the wheel on this side. One side under the wheel on that side. Being careful, of course, not to damage those gears. And then just run the puller down until it's on top, directly on top of the axle. And it will usually align itself, and you can then just pull the wheel off. Whoops. Hold on. There we go. As you see, one wheel is off. And you don't want to pry these things off. You want to use a wheel puller. If you pry them off, you have a chance of breaking the wheel as well as bending the axle. So front wheel is off. Now these are spoked wheels, of course. That's why I bought this motor. And this thing was trashed. No doubt about that. Same thing on the rear wheel. Now this one has the push rod in the way, so just line it up with your finger. Like I said, it's pretty much self-centering. Slowly tighten it down and pull off the wheel. As you see, so these wheels are in decent shape. And that's why I bought this thing, just to get these wheels. So now you can just pull the axles out. As you see, they go right through the bearings. Pull the bearings out. This one is still stuck on the axle. So save all of these parts. All of them are important. So get these bearings out. Now, these are pre-war, so these are not the same as post-war. Okay, so bearings are out, wheels are off, intermediate gear just slides off. Keep this. Now you can actually take a look and see how sloppy this axle or the armature is. See if I can get a shot of this. Anyway, that's what makes these motors noisy. As you see, this thing's just flopping around everywhere. So, refocus the camera. All right, we're going to use a screwdriver. Now it has a slotted or Phillips head screw, depending on what motor you're working on. So take out the bottom screw, and this screw is actually quite important. Without this screw, the motor will not run. This is ground for the brushes. So pull that screw off. This is a standard 632 screw, exactly like the front mounting screw for the crossbar. Now take your screwdriver, pull the bit out, and use it as a wrench, and loosen these two top nuts on the brush plate. Take those off, lift the brush plate off. The brushes are under it, of course. As you see, there's the two brushes. The armature itself, and this one was so badly corroded that it's actually changed the diameter of the shaft on this end. So not much you can do with this. It runs, but it's going to make for a noisy motor. So now there's two more nuts under the two that held the brush plate on. So you take these two off. And now you can pull the side plate completely off the motor. And once you pull off the side plate, of course, you can take the contactor out. So there's the side plate off. There's the E unit. Now this one's been bypassed, as you see. Here is the main contactor. So all we do now is cut that wire there. There's the contactor. Cut this wire here. There is the brush plate. This one is beyond use because that hole is just augered out. But grab your springs. And that is it. You have completely dismantled the Marx single reduction motor. There's the E unit. Now to repair these things, you now have to completely open the E unit, gut it, clean it, fix it, repair it, whatever it needs, reassemble it, and put this entire motor back together. That's why it's easier to bypass this for the average person, unless you really want to get this deep into working on Marx motors. And you can, obviously. And this is where all my parts come from, is taking an old motor and literally just gutting it. And it's not, if you don't want to get your hands dirty, don't even start doing this. These things are absolutely filthy. And many times you'll get one of these things finished, you look like a coal miner. Anyway, that is it. That is basically the complete disassembly of the Marx motor. As you see, the wheels, the axles, the bearings, push rods, side plate, gearing, everything dismantled in just a matter of a minute or so. It only takes a minute once you have the tools to do this with. And of course, once you've done it a couple times, you're an expert at it. It's really straightforward to do it. The nice thing about it is you can repair anything if you want to get this deep into it. But it also gives you a virtually unlimited supply of parts. Buy junk motors that don't run and gut them. You know, if you go on eBay to buy a set of wheels that are spoked, it's going to cost you $20, $25 plus shipping. This way, you got the wheels, contactor, front crossbar, all the internal parts, all the bearings, the brushes, the brush springs, the E unit, the field coil, the side plates. You have everything you need, and out of these parts, you can fix usually 4 or 5 other motors. No two have exactly the same problem. One might need a wheel, one might need a bearing, one might need an intermediate gear, an armature, a brush plate, brushes, springs, whatever. Anyway, it gives you great access, and you can build up a parts supply in just actually a matter of one motor, and you've got enough parts to fix 4 or 5 other motors. Anyway, I just wanted to do a quick video of the complete disassembly of the single reduction motor. It's really simple, as you just saw. Straightforward, really, really easy to do this. Once you've done it a couple times, you're an expert. Nice thing about it, of course, is in the process of doing this, you can fix virtually anything if you have the parts to repair it with. Anyway, just a quick video. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email, BENZTRAINZ@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.